What's up, guys? Coach Dave here again from the Dirty Fork. In our last email, we went over metabolic damage and a lot of the causes of it and how to fix it. One of the reasons, or one of the things listed for how to fix it was to get rid of the notion of calories in versus calories out. So we wanted to expand a little bit on that today, since we got a lot of questions about it, and just kind of give you hopefully a concise definition of kind of what we're talking about with that. So kind of the first thing to think about as far as food, really just to take a quick step back. The whole thought of calories in versus calories out is that 300 calories is 300 calories, and your body needs what it needs, and it doesn't matter what food you give it, and it's going to metabolize it all the same way and result in the same body composition. So long as you are burning more than you intake, then you are going to lose weight, and it's a just ridiculous notion. So one of the reasons to kind of think about that is water. It's a very deep statement, but when you think about it, when you look at all water, it's made up of the same molecules. But if you take a drink of water from a spring at Yellowstone National Park, or if you take a water from a stagnant pond in the desert, that's going to be a vastly different experience. So while it's the same end product, what it's made up of and its contents are going to create a drastically different reaction in your body. So that's just the very first thing to think about. And where that goes into the next step is hormone release. So a lot of our weight management is all based around our body's hormones and our body's reaction to foods. There's many different important hormones at play. The two we want to focus on today are insulin, that's probably the biggest one, and then peptide Y. We'll kind of go over a little bit of those, but insulin is the hormone that is released in our body's response to food. How it exists is released by the pancreas. It clears glucose out of the bloodstream. So when our blood sugar gets high, insulin gets called in to clear it out. And where it delivers the stuff that it clears kind of depends, which we'll get into in just a second. Typically speaking, this is a generalization, typically speaking, when you have chronically elevated insulin levels, you have lots of fat that does not go away. When you bring your insulin levels down, you have fat that tends to go away. Peptide Y is a satiety hormone that is released in our body's response to food. It kind of tells us that we are full. Protein releases the highest amounts of it. Fat releases the second highest amount. Carbohydrates releases the lowest amount, and it's by quite a substantial margin. So when we eat proteins and fats, we're told by our body a lot sooner that we're full. When we eat sugary carbs, when we eat stuff that is void of nutrients, that's when we tend to keep eating and eating it. That's why you can eat a whole pack of Oreos, or it's why you can eat 12 donuts. It's why I can do these things. It's because your body just never gets told that it's full. So those two right away, you can kind of see our little diagrams here. That's why it's going to be different. If you are eating something, say like a donut, which I happen to love, I eat donuts, but I eat them very strategically. Donut is going to really cause your insulin to spike. It's made up almost entirely of sugar, which is going to flood your bloodstream, which is going to cause insulin to need to come in and clear that out. Like we said, when your insulin levels tend to be chronically elevated over time, it typically results in a fat person. So insulin going up is bad. It's going to release very low amounts of peptide Y because it's almost all sugary carbs. And remember, as we just said, our body releases a very low amount of that in response to carbs. And so we're often not told that we're full or that we should stop eating. It is, however, delicious, which is the good news of it, which is why it is important to eat them. It's just not important to eat them every day or 5 or 6 donuts a day. When you look at something like beef, this is mainly going to be made up of proteins and fats. It's going to have zero insulin spiking effect on your body. So that's a good thing. We keep our insulin levels down, we moderate that. That's when we typically tend to burn fat. It's going to release a very high amount of the peptide Y, so we're going to be told that we're full sooner than most. This is why you typically can't eat like 3 steaks. Some people can, but it just tends to be impossible, because it's just so much of that protein that our body signals us that we tend to be full. So this is a very generalized concept, but it just goes to show you kind of 2 different foods. Anything that is just really processed, really high in sugar. You take 300 calories of donuts, you take 300 calories of beef, You compound that over time and you skew one towards the other. You're going to have a fat person here and you're going to have a very lean person here. So it's all based around those hormones, and why it is just indisputable that calories in versus calorie out is not the way that you're going to be able to successfully maintain your body weight goals and lose weight.